Alright guys, so in today's video we're going to be talking about the cookies that I would honestly tell you guys to stay away from. Although yes, particularly inside of Cookie Run Kingdom, excluding the arena and things like that, maybe even the arena, you can use whatever cookie you want. It's a little harder, but it is doable, it is possible in most of the content. However, there are still some cookies that I would highly recommend you guys to stay away from, so that you just don't feel bad about spending your resources on them unless you're just drowning in resources. All right, just to let you guys know again, from my previous video I kind of explained them, but the reason why I don't promote or awaken or get my cookies higher than 2-star for the newer cookies is because so that I don't have a huge gap between my viewers. My average viewers are mostly free to play and things like that. Of course, I pool in order to review and all that stuff. And when you play for 4 years and plus, then you're gonna have a lot of cookies to promote. However, for the newer ones, I'm trying not to do that, so that's what I have. But let's get into it. Let's start out with the ancient cookies as of right now. Obviously, we have 4 awakened ancients. Out of the awakened ones right now, the one that is not really used is golden cheese cookie. Can you use her? Absolutely. Is she the least used? Yes. Inside of the Cookie Alliance and stuff like that too, she has definitely dropped out. Arena obviously dropped out. World Exploration and things like that, yes, she can be used, but there are definitely better cookies just because there are cookies that are just going to do a lot more AoE damage and such. But her main perk is the revive, so if you want to go and use her, not a problem, but just keep in mind, out of the 4 right now of the awakened, she is the quote-unquote weakest or the least used out of them. And then of course we still have White Lily. We are getting an awakened version of White Lily most likely middle to the end of October once Silent Salt is released in end of September, so that is going to be there. But until then, you probably want to hold off on it. You still have about 3 months until she is released with Awaken, so you have some time. All right, out of the Beast cookie right now, to be honest, all of them are used. All right, but the one that is least used now is gonna be, I would say, Burning Spice / Mystic Flower. And the reason why is because Burning Spice obviously is not really used inside of the arena anymore. Mystic Flower, however, is still used, like I said before, inside of specific comps with Cream Ferret and things like that. But Burning Spice still absolutely wonderful inside of World Exploration, Cookie Alliance, and things like that. But out of the other Beast cookie, if I had to choose, Burning Spice is the least used. But we do know that these 2 particular ones right here, Burning Spice and Mystic Flowers, are to have a slight buff, rework, balances, and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, out of the legendaries right now, I will have to say, if I had to choose out of the 7 that we have, then it's gonna be Sea Fairy. However, we are also getting a rework of Sea Fairy coming soon as well. Alright, so that is also a thing, so we'll have to see how it goes. But as of right now, compared to the other ones, Sea Fairy definitely does lack the ability where she is definitely just focused on water type. Alright, so the water type damage as well as crit damage does increase with her rally buff. She does extra damage and stuff like that with her skills, but compared to the other ones, she is definitely the weakest right now, as well as the oldest legendary that has been released. So I would say if you had to choose, stay away from Sea Fairy. Right now, the one for the Crystal Gem is definitely going to be Stormbringer, and then the rest of the legendaries, Fire Spirit is pretty much the best. All right, and then we have Pattaya Dragon as the Omni Dragon, so we can't really say, but he is the best dragon and the worst dragon right now. And then out of the super epics, if we had to choose the worst one, it's gonna be right now Oyster. And the reason why is because Oyster has been pretty much kind of power creep, just because you see right over here, you get crit damage and the crit percentage buff. But so many epics and so many cookie does that nowadays that this used to be her merit, but it's just not as good anymore. And then of course, summoners in general are just not great right now inside of the game, right? Except for someone like Prune Juice, that's the only one that we have. So right now, out of the super epics, still the worst one is kind of Oyster. Everybody else can sometimes be used, like Clotted Cream was used, like, you know, occasionally to destroy like T-Knights and stuff like that. Once that was a thing, we have Sherbet, who's used for like, you know, ice element stuff, freezing, slowing down. Stardust for the, you know, we have the Sign of the Star debuff. We have Capsaicin, who's a budget burning spice. Crimson Coral as a tank. You know, Elder Fairy as a tank. Shining Glitter is still useful here and there with her zap ability and, you know, her buffs and stuff like that. Camellia, useful mostly inside of the Epic Omni Arena. The stun, weakness debuff, and stuff like that is actually pretty darn good when there's no beast and, you know, Awakenation to blow him up. All right, so that is gonna be for the super epic side. And then from the epic, there's a lot of decent ones, there's a lot of good ones, but there are some few that you kind of do want to stay away from inside of the epic section. And of course you guys already know that I do have a tier list of it. But let me just name a few that we have going on right now. Out of the magic candies, there are a couple ones that are pretty much outdated now, and probably a good stay away from right now. And that is gonna be someone like, if you guys go scroll all the way down, we have someone like Milk Cookie. Milk Cookie's magic candy is probably a good no-brainer skip. All right, so definitely gonna be a one that you just want to definitely just stay away from right now. We do have someone like Purple Yam. Used to be good when he first came out with it, but now it's just like there's no reason to go and level it up. We have Licorice Magic Candy, also a very outdated one. Probably don't need that one at all right now. I will personally say, you know, except for the ones that are used inside of like particular ones where like Dark Choco is used for the guild boss battle and things like that. Besides that, you technically can stay away from a lot of these. You guys can work on some of them, like Financier is wonderful. Alright, if you guys can get it up and just have it on the side. Her buffs and stuff like that are great. You know, Mint Chocos for the guild boss battle. But besides those like particular ones that you use, I would say try to just stick with them and like level them up, like Blueberry Pie and Twizzy Gummy and stuff like that, just because it takes a long time to actually level them up. So if you guys are wasting it on like things that are not really great, then it just takes longer, and possibly by the time you try to start making those things higher, these particular cookies might be out of the meta, all right, for guild boss battle and things like that. So probably the best to slowly work on them while you still have the time. All right, and then of course we have like particular epics that you want to just like not use right now, and I will just name a few. Fake Cookie is absolutely useless. You know, look at this thing: attack minus 25% and single hit damage of 396%. Even if you upgrade it, you know, it doesn't do anything. So definitely something to stay away from, sadly. Yeah. All right, and then Candy Diver. Candy Diver is also one to stay away from. The reason why is we just have a better one, who is going to be Marshmallow Bunny. So stay away from Candy Diver as well. Probably not a good investment for you. All right, and then the next one you want to kind of stay away from right now is going to be someone like, right over here, Olive. Olive is another RNG type of cookie. You honestly want to stay away from RNG type cookies unless they have a specific way to use it. Pretty much a good one to avoid. All right, there's one right over here too. Caramel Shoe is probably not a good one. I love the costume, but not a cookie you want to be investing your hard-earned resources into. All right, so those are a couple of the ones that I do want to name, particularly that doesn't really have a good effect. It doesn't really have anything like going for them. You know, of course, like all the older cookies that are rarely used are probably ones that you want to kind of stay away from. But if you really like them, then, you know, I'm not gonna stop you. But those are a couple of the ones that are like pretty much useless. All right, like you're not gonna use them. It's not good. Yeah, stay away from them. All right, and then we go into the special. Obviously, out of the special, if we have to choose the worst one that are available right now, It's I can't even say it's the worst, but you know, Icicle Yeti is used the least. And then we also do have, you know, all the other BTS and Sonic and Tail. If you have them, don't level them up. It's not worth it anymore. And then we have the rare ones. Obviously, rare one, the only one that's really used is Blackberry, and then sometimes Night, like I said in my previous videos. But if I had to choose the worst one, I don't really know. Maybe Princess, maybe Alchemist. I don't know, actually. They're pretty, like, their abilities are on par with each other in my opinion. They have some debuffs, right? They do what they need to. Like, they give healing and buffs or do unique damage. The only one, like, I would say maybe, you know, it's like Alchemist or Princess, Alchemist, Onion, and those kind of stuff. Alright, and the last one is gonna be common. Obviously, inside of the common, you don't want to stay away from all of these, but if I had to really choose, it's gonna be Angel. Sadly, Angel's skill is just so bad. Compared to other ones, like at least like Wizard had Zap. Alright, Strawberry is at least a little tank, but like the healing on Angel is absolutely like disgusting. So if I had to stay away from someone, that's gonna be the one to stay away from. Alright, but that is pretty much what I have for the video. I have got a request to do some builds as well, so I will be going to do those. I am going to be making those guide videos for farming. Alright, so those are going to be coming, but thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments below what your least favorite cookie is. Which cookies you would stay away from as well. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Check out the ones in front of you as well.